Hey, Pedigree, we're back. We're going to be diving into interviews with Derrick Brown, Chuba Hubbard, and our head coach, Dave Canales. We're going to talk about Chuba stepping up. We're going to talk about Derrick Brown's mindset through recovery and why Coach Canales is not letting anybody coast through camp. Oh, and Princely Umanmielen, he said his pass rush is sexy. So let's let that tape decide.
We're bringing down on-field footage, starting with Mike Jackson and his physical presence in the secondary. Then it's the wide receivers getting after it. That smooth connection between Bryce and his receivers. And, of course, can't forget the Godfather, Adam Thielen. Still making it look easy. Plus, Jaycee Horn doing what JC does, talking that talk and locking it down.
All that and more on this episode of Panther Pedigree. Let's rock.
Whether it's taking a year off and learning from the vets or whatever that may be, I'm all in.
Unbelievable! Pass is caught! There's no way! Bryce Young on the money!
We hit the field like, all day like, all night like, on the blue light, on fist like.
Hey, Swift, man. How's it going?
What's going on?
Not much, man. Not much. What you been up to?
Just working, man. Just working. Same as you, but I took a nap today. It was hot today at work, so took a little nap and woke up a little refreshed, so ready to get after it.
Sometimes you got to recharge the battery, you know?
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Sun was tearing me up today, but
I'm sure.
we're all right now.
It was crazy. Yeah, no, I'm working. School year's winding down, getting ready to go into the summer. I coach football too, so that's going to be starting to heat up soon. I got signups next week, so I'm super pumped about my program. But this is not why we're here, man. We're here about our Panthers, and today was the final day of the 3-day mandatory minicamp, and so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to break down some footage. We scoured all the footage we can find, and then we're going to take a look and see, what they're doing out there, and then we have some interviews we want to break down, and I think we'll call it at that. You ready for this, Swift?
Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. So here's what we have. So far, it looks like we're going to take a look at some video footage of Mike Jack. We're going to take a look at some footage of the wide receivers getting their stuff in. Jaycee Horn, Bryce Young to Hunter Renfrow, and I think we have Bryce Young to Adam Thielen and a Rico Dowdle sighting. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right, here we go. Let's take a look and share my screen real quick. And here we go. So you and I were talking about this because we shared this on the Insta page, right?
Oh, yeah. It was probably the most recent one I just saw. This one was sick.
Yeah.
I apologize, viewers. I got a bug flying around in my room.
So I was trying to slow it down to see if we could tell who the quarterback was that threw it. But I'll tell you right now, Mike Jack's pretty hype. And I keep forgetting he was born in Germany, so he's got that German flag on the back of his helmet.
That's tough.
Yeah, they went over that when they were in Germany, and they kind of talked to him about being a military brat and so on and so forth. So that was actually pretty cool.
But I mean, cool.
Take a look at him. I mean, like when he catches some air, like he definitely undercuts the route.
Yeah, it looks like I don't know who threw it, but I don't know who it was. I'm not even sure who it was going to, but it looks like they kind of just threw it up for grabs.
I think it was 86. I think it was Dan Chesina. No, it's not Dan Chesina. That's 83. Is more. It's more.
More. So it kind of looked like it was I wouldn't say a prayer, but it kind of was a 50-50.
Yeah, there's definitely a 50-50 ball.
It looks like he had time to get his footing and go up for it. So
yeah,
didn't exactly look like Zach. Oh my gosh, accurate ball.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. That's what's up. Mike Jack.
It's been good to finally see some Mike Jack. I feel like we haven't seen much of him.
Yeah, I think Lathan Ransom was on him as well. It's at 20. That's 22, right?
Yep. Lathan Ransom's 22.
Looks like Lathan Ransom. So that ball was thrown in at least double because he had Lathan Ransom's there. Yeah, I mean there was almost no hope that ball was going to make a connection. So I believe that was probably a defensive centric drill, and the quarterback just threw, like you said, threw up a prayer. But
or it was just like super underthrown.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But
But good play by Mike Jack nonetheless. It's nice to finally see him on some action. I haven't seen like a whole lot of coverage on him
Absolutely.
since
Yeah.
since things picked up.
Yeah, no, that's that. Like, and it's good to see. Like, honestly, it's good to see the Mike Jack getting some work because we usually picture in on Jaycee Horn, but it's good to see. And then we got to see we had a Latham Ransom sighting as well. All right, next up on the list is we have our wide receivers getting some work. So let me go ahead and share that. And here we go.
It's my favorite.
There you go. Listen, that's why I do it.
I know we've been getting spoiled with the wide receiver coverage.
Using the shoot, Thielen using the shoot.
That's dope.
There we go.
I actually saw something that Ted didn't participate in. I don't know if it was day 2 or day 3 of minicamp. There was a day he sat out though.
Gotcha. I must have missed that part. David Moore.
Because I was looking for him. I don't think I saw him. I don't know if this was from yesterday or today, but I know he
posted today. I believe this is today's footage.
Okay. It might have been today then.
Hunter Renfrow. And they're just going to go back through it again. Just running shoots, catching the ball, keeping a low profile as they're running through, being able to catch an angle.
Yeah, I like that. Good footwork.
Great footwork. Getting squared up against the defender and then making a move. Thielen coming around the corner. That's what Thielen's been known for right there. David Moore. Sure hands. Wily veteran. Jalen Coker.
There's some good footage.
Great footage. Honest to goodness, it's great footage. And it's gonna let this run through one more time, and then we'll move on to 8 ball. Yeah, there we go. All right. So next up on the list, we have 8 ball. So let's take a look and see what that man is up to. So I actually think that the footage is actually of all the D-backs, but 8 ball has a wild. He starts it off. It's pretty wild. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Boom. So 8 ball, one-handed.
I did see this. Yeah, that was sweet.
Boom.
Boy got them short shorts.
Yeah, he does.
He does too.
Yeah, JC's wearing 80s Celtics shorts. Mike
Straight
Jack.
up. Mike Jack got on my kind of drip.
Yeah, so Mike Jack is pretty much wearing the camp gear. Like he's literally wearing like Panthers game practice pants.
Yeah, you got my kind of drip on. Long scrunch socks and an arm sleeve. That's my good.
That's so true. That is so much you.
Maybe a long sleeve or a arm sleeve. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Absolutely. JC.
Yeah, I'm digging the short shorts though.
Yeah, it's not a bad look, right? Keep it simple.
Just a little read and react drill here.
I love the read and react.
Find the ball.
And JC's so smooth with it, right? Mike Jack. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fluid. Like just the footwork, just coming down to a stop, just coming up making a play. That's a little one-hander. Heck yeah, Chow Smith.
Yeah, Chow Smith Wade. Yeah.
Nice.
That's the one I love seeing. I mean, he's just so smooth.
I mean, even just seeing this clip, I mean, I feel like I know we kind of talked about it already too, but it's I know Canales even mentioned it, but I'm like, shoot, we may have to consider opening up options to maybe bringing another guy in because I mean, after JC and Mike Jack, I mean, Chow Smith Wade has made strides, but I mean,
it's light. It's super light, man. It's kind of scary. So I hate to be like that, but I'm very much with you. I'm not fighting that point at all. I mean, we brought that up our last episode, which you fans can take a look at. But yeah, no, that is a scary proposition. I'm not gonna lie to you. Scary proposition. All right. So next up, it looks like we have the man, Mr. Bryce Young. So let's take a look at here. And we'll share. Knock this one out real quick. Okay, this is nice little footage, and it's Bryce hitting Mr. Hunter Renfrow. That man is definitely making this roster. I don't see a world where Hunter Renfrow doesn't make this roster. The amount of footage we see of him and the catches he's making, right? Like it's just like who ends up on the roster bubble is the problem, because we're having the exact opposite problem at wide receiver that we're going to have at corner. At corner, we're worried about depth, and wide receiver, we're worried about who's going to get cut. And it's like,
It's just the absolute opposite this year.
Literally opposite argument, man. I mean, the wide receiver room is absolutely low. This is probably the best wide receiver room, top to bottom, that I can honestly think of in a long time. I mean,
how would you we going back to like the Super Bowl run? Like what we comparing this to?
I mean, even the Super Bowl run. I mean, if you go 2003, you have Ricky Proehl, Steve Smith, Muhsin Muhammad. I mean, that's a good strong three. I mean, it trails off after that, but then you talk about the most recent Super Bowl run, like the wide receivers were I mean, Kelvin goes out with an ACL at the beginning of the season. So you've got Funchess, you've got Cotchery, dude, and you got Ted Ginn. It's not a very heralded wide receiver room. I mean, even when, I'm sitting here looking up at the lights, like somebody's going to tell me, like, I'm just kind of going through in my head. Like, I mean, when you look top to bottom, as far as like just talent, this might be the most complete wide receiver room in Panthers history. And I don't say that lightly, because I'm trying to go back to like, and think, but when you think about like the guys that have been in here, like, you got to go Kerry Colbert. He wasn't like a super impact player. He had a couple, like a season and a half where he was solid. I mean, we said Kelvin Benjamin already. We talked about Devin Funchess. Like, I mean, I keep going.
Even like Muhsin Muhammad and Steve Smith.
Well, Muhsin Muhammad and Steve Smith, so that was top heavy, right? So it's, well, I mean, you Muhsin Muhammad, Steve Smith, and Ricky Proehl. I mean, your top three guys are really, really good. I mean, Ricky Proehl was definitely at the end of his career when he was playing. So I mean, he would be like the version of Adam Thielen. But once you get past them, I mean, there was not great depth. Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not a pretty picture. Yeah, I mean, all you need is like, you three guys in the utility, right? You need, like, if you want to line up four guys, you just need somebody that's going to, make it difficult. A guy that's not going to, forget his route. But
that would be nice.
But when you look at this, I mean, when you look at this wide receiver core, I mean, Tet is, I mean, he is the highest drafted wide receiver that we've had in Panthers history. Xavier Legette is another first round pick. I mean, should have been a second round pick, but we wanted the leverage of having that 5th-year option. So he took off. We have a 5th year of leverage that we can apply to that. So, I mean, that's that. It's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong. And then we have, lost one of my footage pieces. I'm sorry. But then we have, I'm trying to think here, because
just the receivers we have right now.
Yeah, like, so because you have Jalen Coker, you have Xavier Legette, you have obviously Thielen, you have Hunter Renfrow. I mean, it's a really good receiver room. It's a really good receiver room. But I think as far as completeness, this is I don't know. I think it's number one as far as completeness. So let's share some footage of the Godfather here, Mr. Adam Thielen.
Feels like this nickname kind of came out of nowhere.
It's so funny. It's like, and it's like the Charlotte media is definitely kind of like forcing it. And I heard it on the Rich Eisen show, calling him the Godfather, and then Charlotte media kind of picked up on it. And I'm like, I might as well. I'm like,
I took it and ran with it.
Really, honest to God, took it and ran with it.
Somebody called him that too. I think who was the one that started this? It was like a player that called.
I think it was probably a player that did. Yeah, good call. Probably somebody in the wide receiver room. But yeah, I mean,
I'll have to go and check on that. If you guys know who I'm talking about, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's just, he's solid. He's super solid.
Yeah, just getting open, cross, middle, route.
True. Yeah, no. And then we got our friend Rico Dowdle here. So I feel like is an underappreciated storyline in Panthers camp, how good this running game could potentially be. I mean, Rico Dowdle was a 1,300-yard back last year for the Dallas Cowboys. And I know he's coming into he has a prove it deal with the Panthers. I mean, I don't anticipate he stays past this year. Maybe he does, but when you have Trevor Etienne, and then you also have Jonathan Brooks sitting, in the wings waiting to, heal up. I just don't see but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this could be another smash and dash situation, even if it's for a 1 year deal. Like, I think this is a way underappreciated storyline in Panthers camp. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I kind of see this as like a 1 year situation. I just have a feeling we said this, but yeah, he I don't know. I think, like you said, it's just going to be a great, like, 1-2 punch with him and Chuba. I think they're going to feed really well off each other. Again, another situation where you're not relying on one player at a position to, carry the workload. I know Chuba's young. He just turned 26, but just keeping that longevity, running backs in the league, you know what I mean? I think the average is like 5-10 years or something like that. So, just keeping him as healthy and durable as long as you can. And, I think getting a guy like that is going to really help. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, I mean, and again, with the onset of Travis Etienne, I mean, he's going to carve himself out of role. I think he's going to be competing for, a specialist spot, between punt and kick return. So there's no pressure on, I said Trevor Etienne to come in. But I mean, it's going to be fun. By the way, happy birthday, Chuba Hubbard, because your birthday was yesterday. We were talking about that off camera. So I just wanted to make sure we kind of fit that in.
Yeah, happy birthday.
So I do want to let our fans know that we are on Spotify, and we are on iHeartRadio, and we are on Apple Music. And we would love you just to tune in. If, watching us on YouTube doesn't fit the schedule, go ahead and log into Spotify, Apple Music, and or iHeartRadio. You can listen to the guys here from Panther Pedigree talk about our favorite topic, the Carolina Panthers. Hey, look at you, still here rocking with us. So if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. And then I need you to comment what you are loving about this episode so far. And then I want you to subscribe, because help the algorithm. Tell YouTube that you like the guys at Panther Pedigree. And then after you do that, do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that bell notification so you are the first to know anytime we release brand new content. Now let's get back to the episode. All right. So next up, we have the interviews. So one of the best parts about the camp is the mandatory mini camp is that we get a lot of access to these guys. And so we have about 2-3 days worth of interviews, and we're not going to go over every interview in detail, but we're going to hit a couple of high points from each interview. For the first one I wanted to hit is, I mean, I kid you not, like I've been dying to hear this man talk, is Derrick Brown. So when we talk Derrick Brown, I mean, obviously Derrick, after having the record-breaking season from an interior tackle standpoint, he went down with that meniscus injury, and he went down in game one. He finished game one, and then when he had his knee looked at, they said, "Yeah, dude, your season's over. We have to repair that." So with Derrick Brown, he covered a couple of topics. So he talked about being optimistic about his return. Said he hopes to be back for training camp, and he's taking a smart, patient approach to recovery. So what are you feeling about that? Like, you've played the sport and you've taken injuries. Like, what is the most important thing when a player is coming back from injury like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just taking your time. I think as an athlete, it's so hard because you want to be out there. I had an injury myself this year, so just knowing you're not involved in like watching practice and seeing it happen, and just not, I don't know, like a real, like all athletes know, like, you want to be in the game, you want to be in practice, you want to do everything the whole time. So I think that's the hardest part, but it's the most important part, is just being patient, trusting the trainers, do what they say, coming after practice and getting treatment done, and spending some extra time, rehabbing, just doing all the right things to get back. So when you get back, you're not, because if you don't do it right, you could come back and get hurt, almost right away.
100%.
I mean, even though there's no guarantee, but, you have a better chance of staying healthy if you just do it the right way, take the extra time you need and come back and arguably even better.
Yeah. So the another thing that came up was, he was talking about how it's mind over matter. He said the biggest battle was mental, overcoming the fear and trusting his body again. The weight room work has helped rebuild his confidence. So, I mean, I think that just pretty much speaks for itself. I mean, this guy, I mean, these people get paid to play football. They get to play a game, and they definitely take their recovery seriously. And then they have the return to play protocol, which is awesome because it makes sure that you're not getting a player back too soon. And then obviously a piece of that is the weight room. What are your thoughts about that, Swift?
Yeah, I think it goes back to I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying in a previous episode. You were talking about, like it's kind of crazy to sit back and think like these guys are human, but that's like another factor is like he had to, go back and get that confidence back in himself. And
Yeah.
so I think that's really cool that's not cool. I wouldn't say it's cool, but
Yeah.
I think that's like a factor people don't really think about. It's like
Right.
people get hurt, and they kind of just have like a little, some self-doubt,
Yep.
like, am I going to be the same player? But it seems like from the sounds of it, it sounds like he's been going about it the right way,
Yeah.
working his way back. And I think he's going to be fine. But
100%. I couldn't agree more. And then one of the last points I wanted to make off this interview, I mean, it was roughly about 5 minutes long, but I wanted to pick the high points. But talked about locker room chemistry. So he gave a shout out to Bobby Brown and Shy Tuttle for bringing the laughs. He said the team keeps things light, 5 to 10 minutes of jokes before meetings, and encouraged by a coach who gets it. So, like, I mean, position group. I mean, having a coach of sport and you playing it. I think the chemistry within position groups makes it like such a good place to be. And I think there's a nice, healthy camaraderie you build up with the guys that you see every single day, you're training next to. And I believe that's the stuff that really makes teams tighter and they perform better. What are your thoughts?
yeah, I agree. I couldn't have said it better myself, but I saw something too that like Chuba was talking about, like at times, like he's felt like the vibe was just like a little off,
Mm-hmm.
in some rooms. So um, it could be either side of the spectrum. So I try not to see it as like I don't know. You kind of want to have that balance, right? Like you want to see them as like competition throughout
Yes.
camp because you want to win the spot, you want to start.
Yes.
But at the same time, I mean, we're all on the same team and we're all going for the same goal, and that's just to win. So
100%.
um, at the end of the day, it just comes back to that. And I mean, I think the relationships you make in football go beyond football. So especially for me personally, I guess this year, like that was like more of my biggest thing. It wasn't really about. I mean, of course, I was trying to start, but I'm not looking at anyone as like an enemy or competition. You take those kind of things into account when you're in the meeting rooms or team dinners or team meals, weightlifting. I think those are like the things I'm gonna always remember. Less or so about the plan. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, and I know Tuttle and Brown are like super close. They've been close since they've been together, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up some great points. I mean, that locker room chemistry thing is like it's such a big deal. So that's going to be it for Mr. Derrick Brown. So let's move on to Mr. Jaycee Horn. Now, this is a story of the last day, and I don't know if you picked up on a lot of this, but man, I hear that there was a lot of jawing back and forth between JC and Bryce.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't no secret. I think that was like the story of the week.
Big time, big time. And I think the thing people are going to find the most fascinating is because everybody thinks Bryce is like, this quiet, demure kid, but you got to start thinking he's a third-year pro now. And now he's been kind of he's been given the blessing by the new head coach. So he's at least got this year. So he's got to come with his best. So I'm not surprised. Are we going to see anything like when Cam jumped on Josh Norman and, held him down? You believe it's going to happen between Bryce and JC?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I think JC's got Bryce size wise. I think a lot of people got Bryce size wise, but
That was not a
I don't
short
see
joke,
him.
Bryce. We like you.
What's that?
That was not a short joke on Bryce.
Oh yeah, no, not a short joke. I mean, indirectly. I mean, no, yeah, no. No, I don't see that. But I mean, you love to see it. I mean, I think it just goes back to show his comfortability in the system now. You know, he's able to probably, show a little bit more of himself. I think there was like an old story when he was back at Bama where he was like celebrating like a touchdown pass in practice, and like he got back to Nick Saban, had to like switch back to serious mode because he kind of knows Nick Saban's like old school,
Yeah,
just
Nick
his
Saban don't
approach.
play that. Nick Saban
Yeah,
don't play
Nick
that.
Saban will play that. So, I mean, I think it's always been there. I think it's just all about like I think like anyone, you feel comfortable in the system, it gives you like the space to, show your personality a little bit. So I don't think it's anything new, but um, I guess it's new Panthers fans, so to speak, because this is like the first time, you know, I feel like Bryce has like felt, this confident.
Yeah. So then they talked about Jaycee talked about there's a legacy of loud leaders. He mentions how guys like TD and Cam used to go at it, and he and Bryce are now carrying the tradition. He says that the back and forth makes the long days of camp fly by. I honestly I don't disagree, because I remember, and you were the right age, but you remember like they had full interviews about how TD and Bryce like literally just jawed back and forth. That's all they do is just talk crap back and forth, whether who was having a good day. And I mean, Cam wasn't backing down. So I do you foresee this being a bigger thing going forward, or you think this is like, this is probably the top of what it's going to be?
Oh yeah, I think there's gonna be more of this to come. And I think like the biggest takeaway too is like from more people. I think that was like a big thing JC was talking about, was like, we're doing this because he's like, I love to talk anyways, but he's like, but he'd like to see other people talk too, or like get involved. Like it's all about the culture shift. So I mean, like the more, I feel like for some players, the more you're talking and the more, physical it gets, I think the more engaged players are. And it kind of goes back to the buy-in of the team. So when you're really passionate about it and you're really locked in, like you're going to get involved like that. So I think he just wants to see it like go through, the whole locker room.
Yeah, and the one other thing I want to talk about with JC is that they asked him about his massive matchups on Hunter Renfrow, and he jokes. He says, "We don't mess with that orange school," which he's throwing shade from the Gamecocks to Clemson, because Hunter Renfrow was a Clemson Tiger, and obviously JC is a South Carolina Gamecock. So I think it's good for our team for Renfrow to make the roster, and seeing that he's and Adam Thielen, actually, that's an interview that came out a little bit earlier, and it was good. But Adam Thielen talks about how Hunter is like, because they asked a question specifically about how him and Hunter are the most veteran members of the team. And Adam Thielen I think he's the oldest wide receiver in the league by almost 2 years. And he's like, things that I'm good at, Hunter looks at me, and then things Hunter's really good at that I look to him. He's like, I make my way through on certain route combinations with Hunter. That's the way he runs it. So I'm actually really excited for this wide receiver core, but not to overplay it. But I thought it was kind of funny that they were talking, doing a little bit of college rivalry there.
Oh yeah, that was dope. That was really cool.
Yeah. So our next interview, I chose this one because we really haven't heard much from him, but Trevor Etienne. So they obviously, they're already on top of him about the week 1 matchup, the Etienne Bowl. So Trevor versus Travis. What do you make of that? I know we'll have plenty of time to break down the week 1 matchup, but I'll get your first thoughts on the Etienne Bowl, like the Etienne side of it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, I can't. It's one of the things I can't compare it to because I've never played against my brothers. But I think it should be interesting. It should be good. I'm curious to see like his where he's going to be involved. To start the year.
Game plan, yeah.
Just the game plan, how he'll be involved. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of coverage there. I think we're going to see a little bit more of Travis than anything. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool little back and forth. I guess I don't know, something interesting for the media to talk about. They love the brother stuff. I know
they
like
love it, man. The Watt brothers, like the Gronk brothers, like it was always the thing. So the next thing that he talked about was he's not a hooper, he's just a Thunder fan, because at one point Dave Canales, and we'll talk about Dave Canales, he brings up that they've been keeping an eye on the NBA finals and whatnot. And so I guess Trevor's a big OKC fan, and I was like, I kind of like that's weird. I'm like, is he from that area? But I don't think they're from. Well, maybe they're from Texas. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure, but I thought it was an interesting take that he's not a basketball fan, but he's OKC. I'm like, that's different. So
That is interesting.
yeah,
I was gonna say Bryce, but Bryce is from that area, so I understand him being a Lakers fan.
Oh yeah. I'm not giving Bryce a hard time at all. Like, I mean, there's a lot of Lakers and Yankees fans out there. I'm like, yeah, okay. And Bama fans, I'm like, yeah, okay. That's
Right.
You're cool. Like
Cool.
and the last point I wanted to hit on is the built-in chemistry with the Florida boys, because oddly enough, we picked up 3 guys from Florida that were with the Florida Gators at one point in their NCAA career. So Princely Umanmielen, Cam Jackson, and Mr. Travis Etienne. So they
That's
said
crazy.
their bond is built since their Gator days are still going strong. Says it's like sharing the field with the brothers again. So that's kind of cool that they were able to kind of tie that back together.
That was dope. That's dope. Yeah, I'm fighting for my life in here for these folks.
So then we get to Mr. Chuba Hubbard, birthday boy. So they already talked. They also talked about him and Jaycee going back and forth. And Chuba says he owns up to his reputation as a trash talker, especially with Jaycee Horn, but he keeps it classy for the cameras. He says what happens on the field stays on the field. So is that could you see that being a bigger story, or the Bryce and Jaycee being a bigger story?
I think probably Bryce and him, just because I think everyone's kind of surprised by Bryce kind of talking trash, because I think we kind of all perceive him as just like a calm, cool, collected, very faithful person with his religion, and just very like mellow.
Absolutely.
So, I think it kind of caught everyone off guard a little bit when he started talking trash, and, it catches media attention.
Absolutely. So one of the other things that Chuba talked about is the continuity is a key word. So the offense returning Bryce, Chuba, and the full offensive line and a stable group of receivers. It emphasizes the huge impact on consistency in coaching and scheme, something Carolina hasn't had in years. So that is something you and I have been talking about. I think if anything pushes this offense forward, it's that continuity. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'll leave it at that.
Oh man! And then they did ask him about Tommy Tremble. He says he calls Tommy Tremble's offseason hiccup just a little bit of a bump in the road. Says the Panthers have the best team in place to take care of him, and he's confident in his comeback. And he said that his and Tommy's bond is strong. Chuba believes in it fully. And if you remember when Tommy signed his deal, one guy came in. You remember? Did you get to watch that video?
It was Chuba, yeah.
Who was there?
Chuba.
So
Yep.
you gotta like that closeness is building, and that always benefits a team in the long run.
Yeah, you love to see it. I mean, another one of those, if you know, if you're an athlete, but I mean, you're cool with everyone on the team, but you always got one or two guys you're a little extra locked in. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's cool to see, because you can relate in some ways. It takes you back. Even right now I'm reminiscing, but
Most definitely.
Yeah,
No,
that's cool.
same. I mean, like I got a couple of guys actually. The fans don't. The Panther Pedigree doesn't know, but I coach flag football every weekend for your brothers and sister, and a couple of guys that I played high school football with. They're out there with their kids, and it's always funny seeing them, because I was the baby of the group, so. I was a big kid playing football from the 7th, 8th grade. I was playing JV and varsity reps, and it's always good seeing those guys out there. So it's funny. So I know exactly what you're talking about. It brings me right back as well. So it brings me right back.
Has PJ been out there?
No. I got to get him out there though. See if he can get his daughter out there. See him playing some flag. But
hold up. Before we get any deeper into this video, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. And while you're at it, make sure you go ahead and hit that bell notification, so when we post, you'll be the first to know. As always, what am I talking about? Let's get back to the video.
So the next interview is Princely Umanmielen. And from the lead up of the show, he described his game and his pass rush as sexy. So, and I'm sure people want to know what he was talking about. So he says it's all finesse, footwork, and smooth disengagement. He's inspired by greats like Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, not just pass rushes, but artists. So then they asked him, like, did he come up with sex? He says yes, and he laughed it off. And he says, and it's actually kind of cool to see his confidence kind of kicking in right there, his personality. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought sexy was an interesting choice of word, but I ain't mad at it.
Not gonna lie,
But
splashed my drink on my face when you said that. I was down for it.
It wasn't. I don't think it was a word a lot of us were expecting.
Not at all.
Yeah, I respect the confidence. I mean, shoot, even I was loving the confidence off rip when they called him draft day, and he was like, "You guys are gonna have to pay me in 4 years." So
yes,
no,
that was extremely confident. Like I'm like, okay, sir,
very confident. I was like,
all right, Mr. Sir, all right, okay,
okay.
And then he got a question about the college speed versus the NFL speed. He says the play speed is drastically faster in the league. He says less time to react, more instinct, and more sense of urgency. And I mean, we've heard this on and on with every rookie class, no matter what year it was, is that adjustment from the college speed where, you're going against a team where, 5-6 guys are good to a team where this entire roster is constructed of all those 5 or 6 guys. So,
right.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those welcome to the league rookie.
100%.
Oh, man. And then they asked him about fixing the pass rush, and he said he knows why he was brought in. He's like to help that revive a struggling pass rush. He's already showing flashes in practice, and he's ready to showcase his game in full this season. So between Umanmielen and Nick Scorton, I'm pretty confident. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm stoked, and I like that we brought in 2 pass rushers. I mean, I think it's exciting. I mean, you bring in 2, both could have been second round guys. And I just like the idea of them just building up together over the years. They came in together, same draft class, just building as players. I think they're so highly spoken of now. I'm excited for their future and just, where they're going to be. So
I agree.
It's pretty cool.
We have our last interview that we're reviewing. Now, Dave did interview twice during the 3-day mini camp. He did interview the first day and he interviewed the third day. So we're just going to kind of break down the third day interview. So we're not rehashing stuff. So Dave talks about quarterback play and defensive schemes. So he gave credit to the defense because they talk about disguising the covered shells, making it hard to push the ball deep. And he said the offense showed efficiency and rhythm, even in short yardage situations. And then kind of to add to that, there was talk about how one day the offense was getting the better of the defense, and then another day the defense was getting the better of the offense. And did that spell good things in the future of the team? In my opinion, I think it's great. I mean, because like you don't want one side of the ball just dominating, right? Like you don't want the defense just absolutely just destroying the offense. You're not able to get plays off, and you're not even able to get a good look. But it's also on the opposite side. You don't want the offense just absolutely, just dogging the defense, right? So I think the balance is good there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you want the balance. You want to, defense has some good days and likewise. I think when you also think about a team like the Bengals, where it seems like this, it's one way, to your point, where I think all we see, at a camp for footage of that is just Burrow to Chase, Burrow to Higgins. Yeah. And I'm like, who's covering these guys?
They just run up and down the field playing pitch and catch. You're like, come on, man.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, all that money. So, a team like that. What's that?
There was a lot of money drained in that wide receiving core, bringing back T. Higgins and Jamartes, but this is not a Bengals podcast.
It's a $500 million offense right there between 3 guys. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you want the balance. It's a good sign. You want to see that because I don't like. You want a balanced team. You don't want an offense that can put points up on the board, Bengals, and have no defense, and then vice versa. We've seen that before here, like where we've had an Evero top 5 defense, but no offense. So it's like our defense was ranked top 5 and we finished 3-1 15 or 3-14. Sorry, you know what I mean. So it's good to see. And I mean, go
you
ahead.
make a great point. No, you make a great point. I'm just giving you flowers. That was a great point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just turning my football brain back on. I was just trying to think about some good examples, think about some games.
Yeah, no. And then he heaped some praise on the rookies. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. So he calls it one of the best rookie groups he's ever coached. He says he praises their prep habits, their curiosity, and their willingness to learn. He says this is the best teams are curious teams. And this is such a Dave Canales comment because he's so high level talk. And he's like, he almost sounds like a psychologist when he's on the mic. But I mean, when you explore, tell me I'm wrong, right? Tell me I'm wrong. So when you kind of dig into the interview deeper, I mean, he does say that they come out as rookies, but they have veteran habits. And it's such a, he said it was refreshing, if I'm not mistaken, if I have his words correctly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you see guys dancing, you see them, like Canales said, they're asking questions. They seem engaged. A big thing he said is like, they love to be here. They love to play. Like, these guys love the game of football. So I think that is everything that you want out of a team, out of players. You want all guys engaged. You know, this isn't a fun time of the year, right? Like, this is minicamp. Like, people, you can't put pads on.
Right.
We're still few months out from like the real deal. So it's hard to be engaged right now when, you know, it's easy to think about the 5-6 weeks that you're going to have off.
Absolutely. That's so true.
But for guys to be locked in how he's talking about and engaged, like, that's a really good sign, you know, leading into training camp, is knowing that your guys are asking questions, they're dialed, they're dancing, they're getting along. There's an intensity, there's trash talk. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that's everything you want in a winning football team. Absolutely.
And you gave me the perfect transition to the next question. Mr. Canales, Dave Canales, set a clear message before the break of camp. He said your vacation was after the season. Now is the time to stay in shape because camp is not designed to get you ready. And he said the 5-week plan, 1 week to recharge and then ramp back up into full training mode. So, I mean, he's sending the right message. What are your thoughts over these next 5? Well, I think it's actually the exact number is 5 weeks and 6 days. So we're 1 day off of 6 weeks.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a month and a half. So, I mean, that's not even a lot of time. I mean, I think especially right now, it's like these guys have been waiting so long to get back to it. I don't really have any like concern about it, but I'm just kind of going like to like the mindset of it is absolutely right. I mean, you know, after the season, you know, you go to your courtside playoff game and whatnot, and, you know, you go watch the finals and this and that. But, yeah, I mean, I think these guys are so hungry. I think they see the potential, they see the vision. I think the 5 weeks, every guy they already have their plan scheduled out where they're going to go and travel. But I think it's all work, you know, just getting on the field, just staying in shape, eating right, and getting ready to go.
Listen, I mean, I got one more place I wanted to hit. So he did say the veteran mentorship is key to development. He gave shout outs to Derrick Brown, Ashawn Robertson, Turk Wharton, and Bobby Brown for mentoring the young players. Even limited, Derrick sets a tone with walkthroughs, positioning, and vocal leadership. Now, if I go back in my annals, right, of time, and I think about some of the better Panther teams, it was teams that had really good defenses. Like you talk about the original Super Bowl run back in 2003. You had Julius Peppers, you had Mike Rucker, you had Chris Jenkins, you had Brenson Buckner. You had guys that defensive line was like the feature of the team. And then you look back, you know, to the most recent Super Bowl run, the defensive line. But yeah, Mari Addison, Jared Allen, Ryan Delaire, Coney Ely, Dewan Edwards, Charles Johnson, Starlu Tilele. So we had, I mean, KK Short, like that line was silly. Like, I don't think we're there with this line. I think we still need to but I think we're on the rise. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got great depth right now.
Yeah.
I think we're another. I mean, I think I don't think we're far. I think you give our rookies like a couple years to develop, and, you know, you can keep Brown, and, you know, we got some vets in there now. So, I mean, they're not far. I mean, maybe another guy. I think like defensively, I think like more of a need. I think what was going back to where like, comparison. I think our linebacker room could definitely use a boost.
Sure, I agree.
But I like how the D line looks right now. They're not like the best of the best, but I think
they're a more complete product than we were last year. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I'll put it like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll say that. That's the words I was looking for.
That brings us to the end of this particular episode. We want to continue to thank our wonderful fans for viewing our episodes and being super active. We look for we want you to like and comment and subscribe and hit that bell notification, smash that bell notification so that you can be the first to hear our content the second it comes out. I want you to also remember that we are on Spotify, we are on iHeartRadio and Apple Music, so that you can, if it's not watching on YouTube is not going to work for you, go ahead and jump in on iHeartRadio and Spotify and Apple Music, because that'll work for you. All right. So, my friend, I think it's that time. I would like to tell our wonderful, wonderful pedigreers that, hey, stay safe, stay blessed, and keep pounding.
Stay safe. Stay blessed, and as always, keep pounding.
Hey, you've made it to the end of the video. What I'd love you to do is go ahead and click right up here, because that'll let you subscribe to the Panther Pedigree family. And then when you're done doing that, click right here, because this video is a banger. Trust me.